Thank you for watching. This is GEX Part 3. It's my fourth video about GEX, but Part 3 of how I use it. So there's something that I need to emphasize that I said earlier, but I did not emphasize enough. But first, I just want to say, when I made these videos, I thought there'd be like 10 views, and I'd be happy with that. But they got more than 10 views. So to the people that watched and subscribed, I mean, thank you. So what I wanted to say was about GEX and about how I use it is to don't forget that it's naive GEX calculation. Meaning we know, those calculations are based on that dealers, all they do are buy calls and sell puts. We know that's not true. So that's naive gamma exposure. In this instance, you know what another word for naive is? Wrong. So, it's just a tool. So I even changed on my little spreadsheet I showed y'all that I now call it the naive GEX Dashboard. So naive equals wrong. And so, yeah, basically that is the main thing I wanted to emphasize. And so now that we've got that covered, and that gives you an inaccurate estimation of the true gamma exposure from the dealer's side. And so now that we've covered that it's inaccurate, I did want to talk about, what can we do about it? So there might be a way to get it. And if you recall, they hinted at it in the papers. So I'm going to back to the zoom in over here. Back to the implied order book paper. They talked about it in this section right here with the derivation of dealer directional open interest. They explain it, but they didn't explain it that good. There's another link that I provided, this one, in the description of that last one. It's the handy dandy reference to their products. And at the very end, last page, on page 7 there, you get a better explanation of how they do dealer directional open interest. But basically, we want to figure out who did the buying and selling, or did they do buy and selling? They being what we see in time and sales, and then we assume that the other side was the dealer, and that's what we're after. And so that brings me to this paper that was I got to give a quick shout out, that was brought to my attention by this homie on Discord, here on Twitter. Paul, aka Trader McGraw, asked me, have you read Hau's paper? I'll dig it up for you if you haven't. So I Googled it, I found it, and he pointed me towards it. And so here it is right here. Bam. So, I'm looking at, yeah. So right here, tracking market gamma. This paper is fantastic, y'all. And really, I need to go through the whole thing. And I kind of, and actually Paul said this, maybe I should make a presentation like I did the first one. He's right, and I do. But gosh, to be honest, those videos, they take forever. That took a lot of time to make those slides. And it wasn't even that good, but people watched it, and so thank you if you did. So here's this paper. Now this gives me the biggest clue for how we're going to get into how we're going to figure out who bought and who sold. So there's 3 ways, loosely. I took a couple notes so I could kind of make this video flow. For starters, you can go with the bought on, the ask side and the bid side transaction. And so actually, but before I get into the tip from the Hau paper, let me back it up and talk about, I do, where's my other spreadsheet here? I do, at the end of the day, I do a little buy and sell analysis myself using in fact, I decided today I'm going to make a video. I will teach you exactly how I do this. So I'm just going to show you right now, but I'll even give you kind of a little preview. But I do this at the end of the day to get buys and sells using, I'll bring it down, the SPX time and sales data from Thinkorswim. You just get all this, hit copy, hit paste, and I'll teach you exactly how to do that, even though I basically just did. But I just assume if it's on the ask side, it's bought, bid side sold, and I analyze data, and I can, I just get an idea of where premium's going. And I got lots of this. This is a pretty cool spreadsheet. It just helps me analyze and track down stuff. I will make a whole video on this, and so I don't want to get too sidetracked. But that's one way. Way number one is that you can just do ask side, bid side. Two, you can go a little bit deeper. What about transactions between the spread? And so I was accidentally making changes. So you can do you see this online, lean ask or lean bid. They basically take the spread. If it's on one side of the midpoint, just assume that it's over there closest to the other side. And then, and that's cool. Then we get to this third way I want to talk about. So back to the Hau paper. They tell you exactly how they do it. So I'm going to do this. I have not done it yet, but I want to share what's on my plate, and maybe somebody can help me out. So the paper. We get in here. We're going to go down to page 6, and this is the new ingredient right here. Bid size and ask size. Oh, yes. So you have to read this paper, but they look at the transactional data, really zoomed in, and they do the bid side, ask side thing, but they also monitor the bid size and ask size at that same time. Look at these timestamps over here on the left. 12/51/01/01 to the 100th there. And they're getting every, sub-second transaction differences. And they're actually looking at how these sizes change as they go through. In addition to, the bid side and ask side. And so they do some cool stuff in here. Sorry, let me clear those drawings off. So yeah, here's your bid sizes and ask sizes, and they're looking at like how these change after the thing. That's the new information right there. It's tricky because we'll need to get all that data. And so they give lots of cool things. I thought this is a cool tip on page 7 here, that of course not all trades are filled at the best bid and ask so cleanly. So here are some examples. And they like to use the ratio of the size on the best bid and ask pre-trade, post-trade, and compare them to the trade size. That is brilliant. And so, I think they have a service. You can just pay them and get it, but they just told me how they did it, so I'm going to do it. So that is what's on my plate, and that's my mission. My step 1 is to find a data source that'll give it to me, and hopefully for free. Whenever I shared my full screen, it was too big, but here I found the Interactive Brokers API. Sorry, let me just slide it over, and I'll give you all the zoomed in style. Zoom mode, transition. There it is. So I can get the tick-by-tick data from the Interactive Brokers API. So I'm going to try this because I have an Interactive Brokers account. But there it is right there. There. Bid size and ask size. So I can call and get this. I don't know for sure if it's going to work because I was digging, and there's like some limitations. Give you the bottom of my page here that maybe I can't like with a minimum of 3, maximum of 60. I haven't looked into this if this is going to work. And I reached out, and some people gave me some other sources. I know I can pay for some data. We want to exercise all the free options. We're all about open source and sharing, and I want to see if I can get it for free first, but that's on my plate. Okay, so, and one more thing I wanted to talk about, GEX. A little neat thing I came across that I'm also kind of implementing is from this company here called Gamma Edge. This is their site. This is like when you first log in, gammaedge.us, and they give you, it's a paid service that looks a whole lot like my dashboard that I've shown you how to build, but that's cool. But they got a cool thing in here. There's a Twitter thread I found called about the Gamma Ratio. So I thought it was kind of interesting, and it's kind of simple. Here's this Twitter thread, interested in learning about a new back-tested metric with an edge? We've produced one we know you'll like. So there's this Twitter thread, and they go right into it. But it's about a 20-something thread thing, and I made a note that on post 11, they basically tell you it's the GEX ratio. So it looks at the aggregate gamma contained in the calls and the puts for an equity. And that this gamma is sensitized to price, open interest, and days to expiration. And so they compare it to like a put call ratio, which some people use, but kind of like a GEX version. I thought it was kind of interesting. On my little naive GEX dashboard, I made a little. I got to zoom over. Zooming around is hard on this thing. I got a little column needs expanding, but I just made a little. Man, this is all out of whack. Sorry, y'all. Bear with me. I'll get it. There it is, I guess. I mean, it sounds a lot like a ratio of put gamma to call gamma. If you read it, let's go back. Gosh, I'm making this too long, and I'm really sorry, y'all. I'm trying to make these short because people do not like long, including me. But, I mean, I'm just reading along. And then, here's cool too. They give a little history of this ratio. Here's the ratio on the y-axis. Here's the ratio on the y-axis here. And I click this. You can click this, and it'll bring you to a chart, and we can kind of dig into it. God, that looks like crap. I got to give you a big screen. Apologies for the small, but, let's make it big. And here we have left y-axis, SPY price. Right y-axis, GEX ratio. And the red dotted line is the GEX ratio, and obviously the candles are price. So I was just looking at it, wondering, could this be useful? It seems like, I don't know. It seems like maybe. But the big idea is, here's, again, on the right, just like the put-call ratio. If it's over 1, there's more puts than calls. If it's at a half, there's twice as many calls to puts. So I take that to mean high GEX ratio. You got a lot of put GEX, which in the naive assumption means negative gamma, and vice versa for when it's down at a half. And they show, and they talk about in that thread, that basically the same thing, that it tends to signal a drop when it gets high and tends to signal a rise when it gets low. I don't know. Jury's still out. It's interesting. I added it to my spreadsheet, and I'm actually going to calculate it. I have a better thing I'm working on here. One of the homies over at OpenBB, I think this script is going to be in OpenBB soon, but I'm looking at, I got data frames of all the options, and I'm going to make it here too, because my spreadsheet just shows 0 DTE, remember. So I got a Python script in the works where I'm gonna do that ratio for all of them. And so I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm gonna try and end it right there. So to recap, naive GEX is wrong. Don't rely too much on it. 2, maybe we can get an accurate measure if we do transaction level data. But by the way, okay, so if we get that, we know who buys and sells. That's still not gonna work. Why? Think about it. I said it. Spreads. Dude, the time and sales book is filled with spreads. I wish you could see, the thing I'm looking at, but it's spreads all the way down. I want to move it. This video is getting rough. I'm not a pro YouTuber, all right? I'm just sharing my stuff. Y'all see on this far screen? Oh, no. This video is terrible. I'm really sorry about these little moments like this. But this column right here, every time you see that, it says spread. These are today's options. See that right column I pointed to? Spread, 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 spread. This. That's what I'm pointing to. All spreads. So even if we get that, it's still not right. So that's why don't get all hung up on this GEX stuff. It's great. I enjoy it. Thank you for watching the videos. But, remember, it's basically wrong. And all the assumptions you're even going to glean from the data are wrong. So that's the main thing I wanted to say in this video. I do still use it, to be honest. The main thing, like I said in, I guess, was video 2, The main thing that works is watch for the volume. I got it right here. Watch for the volume to rise. You know, when the big strikes rise, they do tend to magnetize toward. And the Hau Volatility Paper addresses that a little bit. This paper is dope. I'll have to present it, but honestly, just go read it. It's like a better version of the GEX paper, and it's published in 2021. Remember, implied order book was 2020. So, love that paper. I mean, they cited, you know, I love, if you give me references and sources, I'm your #1 fan. So, all right. Whoa, 15 minutes. Dude, I'm sorry about this video being so long. Seriously. All right, thank you for watching. Later.